Redacted Files.
Hello and welcome back to Project Titan, the Redacted Files, a game that I'm making where you take control of a special agent detective working for the United Coalition of Ragnarok as he investigates a string of murders and uncovers a plot to destroy the world. In today's devlog, I think it's time we spoke about the rest of the enemies. Well, most of them. I'll leave some secrets for both the demo and the game, and some behind the scenes stuff like the weapon hot swapping and roll ability. In Resident Evil 3, you had the ability to somewhat control a dodge mechanic. Sometimes it worked, a lot of times it felt like it didn't, but when it did, it most certainly felt pretty good. I decided I wanted this specific mechanic for the game, but I really didn't want it to feel so random. To do this, I decided to simplify the dodge to rolling left or right, but give it a substantial cooldown so you can't just spam it. This can be used to dodge just about everything, but be careful, you might dodge into the enemy and give yourself a bad time. A new feature that was requested during a playtest demo was that it was very cumbersome to switch weapons when trying to play optimally. For example, if you wanted to play well in the game to try and conserve ammo, you'd have to do this. See, this sucks, like a lot. Now it looks like this. The drones have been improved a bit, they see better, move around a bit more. However, this is all still a work in progress. I unfortunately am only able to work on programming on Saturdays due to schedules of my wife and co-worker. The game is a hybrid between a horror and action adventure, which I've settled with calling the game a thriller action game. This means there needs to be enough action to keep the fun going. Devil May Cry 1 and 3. Husks are poor souls who've decided to use the narcotic and have been transformed into violence-seeking hollow versions of themselves. You know, a husk. At the current moment, they have moderate health, but can be taken out very quickly with the shotgun or magnum. This might change in the future due to me rebalancing everything later. Since the main antagonists are a big government sector turned syndicate called White Eden Syndicate, it makes sense that they have both followers and hired guns. Big difference is that these followers are users of the narcotic that have somewhat survived the process. Nothing spectacular, but they didn't die taking it, so great job to them, I suppose. They have more health than Husks, but aren't entirely brain dead. They will run or walk at you and try to hit you with whatever weapon they found. Let me know if you think I should do more recolors. Ranged enemies are the same deal as the melee enemies, however they got guns and try to stay away from you. Depending on the gun they use, dictates their firing speed, which might mean if you aren't careful, you'll be hit twice. Titan betas are probably the most advanced enemies so far, certainly slightly more intelligent than a Husk and a lot stronger. These are people who have partially activated the narcotic correctly, but during transformation has failed to assimilate with it properly. The Syndicate, after experimenting on them, hooks their brains up to masks that are able to keep them from going violently insane. However, after about 12 hours, these monstrosities typically die due to a heart attack brought on by the severe pain and intense power from the narcotic. They have a lot of health, run at you, walk at you, and when close, slash at you. However, the biggest problem is its jump attack, which deals a lot of damage and sends you flying. However, do not give up. When they jump into the air, you can shoot them out of the sky if you calmly think it through, giving you time to run away if you need to, or a better vantage point. This is where it's a risk-reward scenario where if you miss, you'll be hit by a devastating attack, and having multiple enemies at the same time will require a lot of skill to dodge and use the weapons correctly. However, one of the issues with balancing at the moment is, well, this is currently happening.
Bruh.
In design, these are quite close to hunters from Resident Evil 1 and 3, but not nearly as difficult to deal with, especially since I don't want to add one-hit kills to the game. At the current moment, all that remains to be done for the demo is the small but important bits: bug testing, bug fixing, better options menu, and taking in the feedback given during playtesting, balancing, and doing the boss. I've also tried my hand at animation for the intro and Steam trailer, which you saw at the start. Pretty cool, huh? I also wanted a Metal Gear Solid inspired game over screen, which I also animated. All 120 files of every single frame animated by me in Kdenlive. That's it in terms of enemy progress. I think I'll leave some of them as a surprise for the final game, but these are basically every enemy that will appear in the demo. Thank you for watching. If you want to follow for sporadic small updates, I suggest my Blue Sky account in the description. As a special bonus, let's see every single enemy try and take Trevor down.